Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are playing Pidgeot, the normal flying type Pokemon. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't think Pidgeot's going to do that great today. Looking at our base stats, we've got 83 in HP, 80 in attack, 75 in defense, 91 in speed, 70 in special, 17.58% crit ratio, or crit percentage more rather. And looking at our move pool, we don't really have anything worthwhile. It's going to be a rough start here in the early game. We do not get wing attack until 31, which actually will be just in time for Erica. However, we will also be able to get access to fly, which would be a stronger move with a higher effective power, slightly less accuracy at 95%. But yeah, Pidgeot, we're starting off with Gust, Sand Attack, and Quick Attack. In this game, Gust is not a flying type move, which isn't really a big deal. You still get same type, you just don't get those super effective type matchups that you'll see in the later generations. But starting off, we're obviously looking at everything. We're going to have that point deduction coming from Brock because we only have normal type moves. Normal types, as you know, are resisted by rock types, and Brock's got two rock types, one being Geodude, which isn't as bulky as Onix is, but it does have a higher attack stat, and Onix does also utilize Bide, but we do have a counter for that today with Sand Attack, so that should be good. It should also help us get through the fight potentially if we are able to use it when necessary. Can maybe potentially help us stave off some damage that we would potentially take otherwise. May need to utilize it against Geodude, but kind of have to see how much damage we're taking from Tackle coming out of Geodude. Now, being the flying type, you know, we've got to go with Jolteon. We want that to be the starter for our rival. And I eventually realized I don't actually have to do these fights. I can actually change the whatever final starter that the rival has in the later stages of the game. I can actually choose that at any point in the game, utilizing Pokebite. So when I was recording these runs, I wasn't quite aware of that just yet because some of this stuff is all kind of new to me. But we are going to have Jolteon. We're going to go ahead and get it the legit way here by fighting that second fight and winning. That will now set his starter to be Jolteon, which can give us problems. Jolteon very speedy. Solution to that, at least in the champion fight, just going to be Mimic Earthquake, and that should be enough. Our attack stat should be decent enough at that point in the game to get us through that. We're going to make our way through Viridian Forest, take care of the mandatory Bug Catcher with the level 10 Caterpie, get some experience from that, and then we're just about ready to take on Brock, the Rock type specialist. This should be interesting. Might be a dragged out fight, but let's see. So coming in to the Geodude, we're going to go ahead and try to drop its accuracy so that we can stave off some of the damage. Now, utilizing Quick Attack or Gust doesn't make a difference. They're both at the same effective power. We only got 30 effective power, and that's calculating in the ineffectiveness of the normal type move as well as the same type bonus as well. So come into Onix a little bit over half. We're just going to go for some quick attacks, and when it goes for Bide, we are going to use Sand Attack. So this can definitely help us avoid taking damage from Onix, but it is going to take us quite a bit of time to whittle him down. Onix very bulky in the defensive department. So we're just going to whittle it down with Quick Attack, and it's obviously not getting very many hits in because I've dropped its accuracy quite a bit. And if it uses Bide, I can stack it all the way as much as possible. As you see here, we're just going to go for Sand Attack. We've already got it as low as possible, but why risk taking any more damage? So, yeah, that's going to take care of Brock. Actually, not as hard as I might have thought. Sand Attack does help quite a bit. So we're going to come out of Brock's fight with a score of 25 out of 33. We had to take -8 For the use of ineffective moves, that's just, hey, a lot of people are going to take that deduction on Brock. A lot of people don't have, a lot of Pokemon don't have, not people, I'm sorry, a lot of Pokemon don't have moves that can adequately deal with his rock types. So it's just, You know, the starting sets for most Pokemon, they're just, you typically don't have any move outside of like normal or, you know, essentially just normal type moves is usually what people get. People, I keep referring to them as people. I don't know, maybe it's easier for me to say people instead of Pokemon, so I guess that's why I'm saying that. But anyway, let's take on Misty. Unfortunately for Pidgeot, we do not get access to any new moves. No Body Slam, unfortunately, so we're just going to have to make use of Gust and Quick Attack as well as Sand Attack. Shouldn't be too bad. As you see here, we're doing pretty decent damage, so I'm not too worried about it, and Misty's not using any defensive boosting moves. So that's going to be an easy Misty fight. We're going to get a 33 out of 33 for her. Not much of a challenge coming from Misty. I didn't really expect there to be. We do have priority Quick Attack, so even if the Starmie was faster, we do have Quick Attack to always go first. So as long as we're doing more damage than Starmie is doing to us, we would come out on top there. So we got to finish up here on Nugget Bridge. We've got to get over to Bill so that we can get the SS ticket. We've got to make our way over to Vermilion City next and take on Surge, which we do have a type disadvantage. But we all know Surge, terrible AI in this game. Most of the time, even if he does have, if Thunderbolt is super effective, he still won't use it. Just, I don't know why they coded him like that. You give him one Pokemon and then have given bad AI. Surge could be a potential wall, and that's why I'm excited for the ultra hardcore, or not ultra hardcore, but the hardcore runs, because Surge is going to be way better. As you can see, absolutely no respect for Surge. I come into this fight, I'm not even fully healed. I'm going to go for a Quick Attack, and Surge is going to go for an X Speed, which is pretty silly because I have Quick Attack, so it doesn't make a difference. We do get hit by a Thunderbolt, but it's not quite enough to take us down, and we are going to get past Surge on the first try. No issues. Now, we're done with Surge. We're going to fly back over to Cerulean City, grab the bike. We're going to need that for Cycling Road. And fly back and get that. Just in case you're wondering, I do go ahead and give myself a Pokemon with Fly. I give myself a Poke Flute. I try to make these runs as easy for me to produce as possible, and I'm going to need to save as much time as possible to do so. So I don't think it really impacts the run at all as far as me evaluating the Pokemon. It's just me routing the game a different way, because this allows me to avoid the tunnel, the rock tunnel, I believe that's what it is. And I'm skipping, I believe it's rock tunnel, I don't know. Because I don't really need it. So we're going to pick up Swift as well. That is one normal type, same type move that we can learn, and it will never miss. So this will be a good addition because it's 60 base power off the start. So that'll give us a 90 effective power normal type move, which would be an upgrade over Gust. So we'll keep Quick Attack for priority. But as you can see, we still, we don't have much else we can learn. Now Erica, I've got Wing Attack now. We've got a 52 effective power on that. That is before calculating in the super effectiveness that it will do. That'll put us up to, it should be about 104 power against all her grass types. And since the grass type is resisted, we shouldn't be getting hit with any moves such as Sleep Powder and Stun Spore. From what it seems like, the AI will not choose these moves since they are grass typing, and grass is not effective against flying types. So they'll typically just go for Acid. Or for, in the case of Tangela, just Bind and Constrict. So that really makes the gym fight pretty trivial. Not really anything to see here, just kind of using Wing Attack until I KO all her Pokemon. She doesn't pose any kind of a threat. So, and the same could be said for Koga. He has bug types and they are weak to flying. They're going to use, there's no moves that they have that aren't effective against Pidgeot, so that's not really anything to worry. Now, I did save doing Pokemon Tower until after Erica, just because I don't want to go over the level cap and I needed to get to 31 before I got to wing attack, because I also need wing attack or fly to do damage against ghost types. Normal is completely ineffective against ghost types, so it does nothing there. Pidgeot does resist ghost type moves, but there aren't any significant ghost type moves in the game outside of Lick. Lick isn't even that good of a move, but it does have that. It does seem to paralyze quite often. But anyway, we're going to clear that out. Head over down to Fuchsia after clearing out Snorlax and heading down Cycling Road. This should also be an easy fight. We've got Venonats. They aren't very defensively adept, so this shouldn't really be too much of a challenge. We're not going to see any sleep powder from this first Venonat. They could hit me with Toxic, Psychic, stuff like that. I don't think it would really cause too much trouble, honestly. Even a special drop, we don't really care. That would also boost our attack, which would make it harder for them to take us down. But as you can see, these Venonats aren't doing anything that's really effective at all. Venomoth going to go for Toxic, but we do hit a massive critical hit wing attack, and we'll take down Venomoth in 2 shots. And we will claim the badge, the soul badge from Koga. That is 5 badges down, and now we have that speed boost. So now we can head over to Saffron City. I also think Sabrina, as I've mentioned previous videos, Sabrina, as long as if you have a strong physical attacker that outspeeds her Pokemon, you're not going to have any problems, realistically. So Sabrina also isn't much to see, and it's unfortunate. Like, most Pokemon do get a stretch where they don't actually struggle against any of the gym leaders, and I don't know if that's just by design, but I don't know. When we get to the hardcore challenges, like I said, I'll be making changes to AI, movesets, teams, levels. So it should give Pokemon more of a challenge. And I'm hoping that I can make all the gym leaders relevant enough to not just kind of skip over them, but, you know, kind of take some time and see if there's any kind of a strategy that you actually need to get past them. But we come into Sabrina. I have Swift. That's going to be our best move here. Abra just has Flash. Kadabra has Kinesis. So we do have the ability to get our accuracy lowered. But we're going to take both of them down in 1 shot. It's going to be 2 for the Alakazam. After an X-Defend, not going to take any damage from Sabrina. Her 1 turn she gets, she just goes for an X-Defend. So that's what I mean right there. Like, what do you really need to go for an X-Defend for? You're better off just trying to out-damage me with your Stab Psychic. That's really your best bet. But gonna be a easy one for Sabrina. We're gonna claim her badge. We're gonna start making our way down to Blaine and his fire types. This is where we kind of start getting back into more of a challenging territory, because getting burned will cause us issues. I don't think we don't have any access to any special attacks, so there's no way we can make use of our special stat. It's completely useless. That we don't learn any special moves. So that means we have no way to play around getting burned. So if we do get burned, that's not going to be good for us. That will potentially give us a reset if we do get burned. So that's really sometimes what it comes down to with Blaine. If you don't get burned, you kind of win easily. He doesn't really pose much of a threat outside of burning you. I mean, his fire types do pretty good damage, but he's not really that scary, honestly. So we're going to come into the gym and see how it goes. Ninetales is the leader. We're going to go for Swift. I don't believe it'll actually go for Confuse Ray here, because Confuse Ray is a ghost type move, and the AI sees that as ineffective. So we're going to get hit. We'll take a little bit of damage from the Ninetales. I do believe it hit us with a Tail Whip, which does give us badge boost. We're taking a good amount of damage from the Rapidash with its use of Fire Spin. So it is looking a little dicey here. We're going to go for Swift on the Arcanine. We're going to get a critical hit. It's going to miss Takedown. Then it does go for Takedown, but doesn't quite do enough to take us down, and we will defeat Blaine on our first attempt at level 47, which is pretty good. I had plenty of room to go over a couple more damage rounding thresholds if needed to, but we don't need to. We claim the Volcano badge, get our final badge boost in Special, which is useless, and now we're heading into Giovanni, which in the grand scheme, you would think as a flying type going into a ground type gym that you're covered. You don't really have to worry about anything, but his Nidos have Thunder and his Rhydon has Rock Slide, so this might be a problem. We lead against the Dugtrio, and my best bet here is to go ahead and mimic Earthquake. Dugtrio can't really do anything. It could use Sand Attack, but it doesn't. So we're going to Earthquake on the Persian. The reason I'm picking up Earthquake is the best move that we're going to have to be able to get access to, especially against the Nidos and Rhydon. So we're going to one-shot both of them. Not sure if the critical hit made a difference. And then Rhydon going to hit us with a massive Rock Slide. Don't quite have the 2-shot range, and we are going to go down. Going to come back in at level 50. Over a damage rounding threshold. Same plan here. Got to get the Earthquake from the Dugtrio. And then from here, we're just going to go Earthquake. It is the strongest move that we have access to. Super effective against the Nidos and Rhydon. Neutral against Persian and Dugtrio. And this time, we don't quite get the Rhydon, but it does not go for Thunder. So Earthquake on the Rhydon. Still not looking like a 2-shot range. And we get taken down by 1 use of Rock Slide. So now we're going to come back in over another damage running threshold at level 53. Same strategy, mimic Earthquake, but this time we do have agility, so we're going to try to set up some agility on the Persian. It is going to go for Screech, which is a problem because now our defense is significantly lowered, so 1 Rock Slide is almost guaranteed to take us out. And we do get hit with Rock Slide, it does take us down in 1 hit. So we're going to come back in. If we can avoid the Screech from Persian, maybe set up a little bit more agility, might be good. The reason I don't want to set up agility on Dugtrio is because I do fear that Sand Attack. Sand Attack could destroy our accuracy and just make it horrible for us. We do get hit with Thunder from Nido Queen. Doesn't look like we quite have the range to knock them out in 1 shot with Earthquake. And coming back into Rhydon, we get a critical hit, but it doesn't matter. All that damage we take, and essentially what it's coming down to, it's either going to be a Rock Slide miss, and we do get hit Sand Attack there from Dugtrio. It's either going to come to a Rock Slide miss, or we're going to have to get a critical hit. And as you saw there, even the critical hit wasn't quite enough to take down Rhydon. So having to reset again, I knew that accuracy drop would cause problems. But I decided to go ahead in this turn, just go ahead and set up. I did reset 1 more time. I'm trying to take my chances on Dugtrio, hoping it'll go for something like Dig, so it'll give me free setup. I do manage to get set up to +6 on this attempt, so we're looking very good here. Now, does it give us the range to knock down? Okay, so Nido Queen down 1 hit, Nido King down 1 hit, Rhydon. Not quite off of a critical hit, but he goes for a guard spec, and that will seal the deal. Now, I would have been curious to see if Rock Slide, with the badge boost that we got from Agility, would have been enough to allow us to tank a Rock Slide. That would have been interesting to see. But that will do it for Giovanni. So, coming out of the Pokemon League Gym Challenge, we've got 25 for Brock, 33 for Misty, 29 for Surge, 37 for Erica, 41 for Koga, 37 for Sabrina, 37 for Blaine, 40 for Giovanni. That's what we're looking at coming into this. Last thing we have here before we take on the Elite Four is just taking on that final rival battle against right here, right outside of essentially Victory Road, where we get our badges checked. This is essentially the entry to Victory Road, so shouldn't really have too much trouble. These battles don't count, so I do, in the case that I'm kind of struggling or anything happens, I do, obviously items are allowed here. So if you're ever kind of looking at the gameplay and like, wait, I thought items aren't allowed typically in the battles that I account for. So for my challenges, the 8 gym battles, the 4 Elite Four members, and the champion are the only fights that count in my runs. I grade the Pokemon's performance based off of those fights. Essentially just because, I mean, the game is designed for you to have a rival, but in the case that you were just, a regular trainer, you wouldn't have a rival. And that's kind of how I'm doing it. This is kind of like my way of playing the game, but to each their own. Doesn't make a big difference. I think most of these rankings are fairly consistent with other like timed performances. because you kind of do have the same struggles, and that's kind of how I thought about it. But let's see how Lorelei goes. This should be a challenge. Now, the biggest problem here is that, unfortunately, Pidgeot just doesn't have any good moves. Lorelei's Pokemon are pretty bulky, and, you know, we just don't have enough. We just don't have enough. I mean, what can we hit Cloyster with? Cloyster's going to wall us. It has amazing physical defense. Look at that, 204 defensive stat. I mean, what physical move can we use against it that's going to do any significant damage? It takes more damage from resisted water type moves than it would from physical moves most of the time. So unless we get lucky, it's going to be hard to take it down. And a lot of times I think about using the Fly Toxic strat, but man, the Fly Toxic strat, it's so hit or miss. Because, you know, Toxic, I believe it's an 85 accuracy move. So there's just so many chances for us to get frozen. Aurora Beam can drop our attack. I mean, where can we set up agility? You know, the best place I can think would be Dugong using Rest, which is essentially the only place we can set up. And even setting up here using Hyper Beam, we do get the one shot on Dugong. We go for Hyper Beam on Cloyster. Clearly, even with the badge boost, that's not going to be enough. So yeah, we're at 55. We don't have any more damage running thresholds, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go up to 56. I do decide to start using Sky Attack because, I mean, I'm just kind of grasping at straws here. I'm just trying to use whatever I have available. Hyper Beam and Sky Attack are technically the strongest moves that Pidgeot can use. I mean, looking at that, 225 effective power on Hyper Beam, 210 on Sky Attack. It's the best that Pidgeot has, and unfortunately, it's all I've got. So Blizzard from Lapras going to take us down when we finally do get to the Lapras. I mean, it's just really tough. I mean, especially the Cloyster. Like, what can you do against a Cloyster? I mean, Sky Attack, I have to charge that up. And it just, by the time I get to Slowbro, no health. I mean, this is what Lorelei does. I mean, if you're weak to Lorelei and don't have any answer for her Pokemon, you don't have any super effective damage, she's gonna wall you pretty hard. You're gonna have to figure out how to get pie this or get lucky, unfortunately. And I really tried my damnedest, and unfortunately I just don't think Pidgeot can beat this fight at level cap, which is extremely unfortunate. And I'll just go ahead and say Pidgeot will not be a finalist for the hardcore challenge. There's just no way, because if we can't beat the level cap here, there's no way Pidgeot could do it in that challenge, because those are going to be hard-coded level caps, so there isn't going to be you won't be able to level past it. We do finally, luckily, get past Lorelei at level 58. This is the level cap for Bruno. So, yeah, and as you can see there, we are right about to level up to 59. So, it's really unfortunate, because this is going to cause us to lose level cap points on Bruno, but there was no other option. The Elite Four level caps are so close. There's just no way that you can go over a level cap for one trainer and not go over it for the next. So unfortunately, that's what happens here. But Bruno is easy to deal with, being able to mimic Dig from Onyx to take care of the two Onyxes on the team, and then we've got Fly for the fighting types. Good news is, though, that's essentially the last Elite Four member that we struggle with. Agatha has some frail Pokemon. Their defensive stats aren't that great. But when they use Substitute, that is pretty annoying. Substitute into Confuse Ray. Confuse Ray sometimes I'm just like, man, this is such a busted move. Like 100% accuracy status condition move. And it's just annoying. Like, this Gengar wants to set up Substitute, Mega Drain. It just wants to be annoying. That's the one thing I hate about Agatha. But we finally connect with that Fly, take down that first Gengar. Good thing is we don't have to worry about Substitute no more. So, and yeah, Fly is a one-shot on the Haunter. Fly, not quite a one-shot on the Arbok. It misses Glare. I'm just going to finish off the Hyper Beam. No worries there. Then we're going to go for Fly on the Gengar. It's going to be a two-shot, but that's okay. We're going to get through Agatha. And now we've got Lance. So really gonna go for Fly and Hyper Beam on the Gyarados. That's probably the best combo. We don't take any damage there. Gonna go, I mean, Hyper Beam's our strongest move. Gonna go for that on the Dragonair. It's gonna be enough. Gonna need to mimic Ice Beam though from this Dragonair here in order to deal with Aerodactyl. We get hit with it from the Dragonair, but it does not do enough. We one-shot there. And then we're going for Ice Beam. It does one-shot the Aerodactyl, one-shot the Dragonite. That's probably the one and only time we'll be utilizing Pidgeot's special stat. So that will complete the Elite Four. Our scores here, we've got 15 out of 45 for Lorelei. Pretty brutal. But we missed the level cap. It was inconsistent. So that's a lot of loss of points there. Bruno, we're gonna get a 25 out of 45. We lost 20 points from the level cap deduction. Agatha 45, Lance 45. So that's what we're looking at before we come into this champion battle. Yeah, Pidgeot definitely not a great Pokemon, especially with its just limited move pool. I mean, it just doesn't have access to any moves that are great. I mean, Body Slam would be a great move if it had access. It could have potentially, those paralysis procs could have helped us against Lorelei potentially. That could have been another X factor, but no access to Body Slam, just Hyper Beam and Sky Attack to get through that. And now it's time for the champion. Okay, plan here. We got to Mimic. We got to take that Earthquake. We don't want to see Slash, though. We get a miss on Fury Swipes. You know, thinking about this here. Do I set up Agility here? I think the biggest thing I just don't want to see is Slash. Slash would do some significant damage, and I really didn't know how far I wanted to take my setup. And you see there, Earthquake doing pretty much nothing. So, go for the Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam on the Alakazam. The Executor we should be able to take care of with Fly, so that'll be good. Don't have to worry about Leech Seed, and Fly not quite enough. We get hit with a critical hit Stomp. That's just, man, hate to see that. And then we've got Cloyster. We have no special moves to deal with Cloyster, unfortunately. And it has Ice-type moves, Ice Beam and Aurora Beam. Just, there you go, man. You see it, man. That's where I was like, man, I don't have any answer for Cloyster. You kind of need special attacks to deal with Cloyster. Using physical attacks against a Pokemon with a 234 defense stat, it's just ridiculously, it's ridiculously just not optimal. So we're coming out of Sand Slash, 1 use of Agility, 81 HP. It's looking rough here, and Earthquake is pretty much essential. You kind of have to get that because that's likely going to be the best option we have for Jolteon. I mean, we have Hyper Beam, which is a higher effective power, but it also has the chance to miss. So it's got a little bit of an inconsistency factor that comes with it. And Earthquake's going to be more consistent, just slightly less power after considering it's super effective. We do get 2 setups of Agility here, but that Slash, man, that's really what you don't want to see. And the full Restore, man. But a Hyper Beam after 2 setups of Agility will be enough to take down the Sand Slash. That's good information to note going forward. And that's kind of the thing, like, sometimes I feel like you just kind of have to come in here and see how something would work. Especially against that Sand Slash, because I'm just thinking, like, Sand Slash has pretty good defense. Can a Hyper Beam one-shot it? Because if not, then that's a free turn that it gets to hit me with essentially anything it wants. And as we see here, once we are able to get past the Cloyster, we can clean up Ninetales and Jolteon just like that. And we are finishing the game here with Pidgeot at level 63. So let's go ahead and give it a breakdown of its points. We've got 6 points for coverage, minus 6 points for weaknesses. Those will cancel each other out. Resistances, we do have 16. We do have 2 immunities, so that's 12 points for the immunities, plus the resistances that we have. Finish level, we're going to get 2 points in base stats. Amongst the flying types, we're going to get minus 2. Pidgeot going to get a complete score, 467 out of 583. Percentage score, 80.10. That's going to put it into the C tier amongst flying types. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like in the normal type category. Normal types, base stats, we're going to get +7 there. So Pidgeot will get a score of 478 for a percentage of 81.99%, still in the C tier. Calculating over for all 151 Pokemon, Pidgeot is going to get 11 base stats here, just a slight boost. It's going to be a score of 482. I'm sorry. Yep. Oh, did I not write down? I did not write down Pidgeot's final score. Anyway, it's still in the C tier. It's still in the C tier. I may have actually put it in Beedrill's spot. I think we actually have a score of 82.68%, I believe. I actually put this down for Beedrill. I put this down in the incorrect cell on my spreadsheet. 82.68% C tier finish for Pidgeot. Not that great, but hey, can't win them all, especially for a Pokemon that doesn't get very good access to any good moves. And it's got some weaknesses in key areas against key trainers that really kind of wall it a little bit. But anyway, next on the list is Gyarados. I'm looking forward to that one. Should be a strong performance from Gyarados. Hopefully we get a good placement for it. I will see you guys in that video. Stay tuned for it. See you then.